It's time now for a look at the latest in local news. In the news, the Jesup City Grievance Board has made a decision regarding the fate of Mike Lane's tenure as a City of Jesup police chief, and that decision will be revealed this afternoon at a meeting set for 1:30 p.m. at the Craig Williams Community Center. The question is, will they uphold the city managers and the City Council 6-0 vote to terminate Mike Lane's employment, or did the former chief and his defense counsel, Hugh McCullough, and his fellow officers who came to his defense at Monday's grievance hearing have an effect on the committee and have the committee rule in his favor and possibly reinstate him as just a police chief? That decision is in the hands of the grievance committee, as their decision, once revealed today, is final, as laid out in the employee handbook for the city of Jesup. Grievance hearing was held this past Monday. It lasted several hours. Defense attorney Hugh McCullough urging the committee to overturn the city's decision to fire Mike Lane. City asking the committee to simply reaffirm the city's and city manager's decision to terminate his employment. At Monday's hearing, however, the city manager and city councilman Ray Haas questioned whether firing Mike Lane was the correct course of action. City Commissioner Ray Haas, who at the council meeting seconded the motion to terminate Lane's employment faster than you can blink an eye, on Monday said he would change his vote after listening to 16 to 17 hours of interviews conducted in Liberty County's investigation into the sexual harassment complaints against the former chief. Ray Haas went as far to say that Liberty County's findings in their investigation is simply not correct. Haas says Lane's conversation with Patricia Brantley was initiated by Brantley, and therefore Lane did not, in his determination, create a hostile environment. But under cross-examination by the city attorney Jim Elliott, who asked Haas if such sexual conversations between a boss and a subordinate was appropriate, Haas testified that it's simply inappropriate. Also on Monday, Greg Rozier testified when asked about by attorney Elliott, isn't it true that it doesn't matter who initiates the conversation? The bottom line is that this type of conversation is simply inappropriate behavior, to which Rozier under oath agreed with the city's attorney Jim Elliott. Conduct by the chief and the employee simply inappropriate. Greg Rozier, also the internal affairs investigator for the city of Jesup. City manager Mike Deal testified Monday. He also questioned if he made the right call, as under the city manager form of government, it's the city manager's call to hire and fire employees, including the chief of police. The city council has the authority to hire and fire the city manager and the city attorney. Deal, when asked by Chief Lane's attorney Hugh McCullough whether the council's request was a suggestion, Deal answered no, that the council was telling Deal to carry out the city council's wishes to terminate Lane's employment. Deal, in his testimony, shedded some light on why that executive session that night took several hours before the 6-0 vote by the city council. Deal testified that in that session he told the commission that he had three options. Option one, Deal could simply walk away and resign himself from being the city's manager. Deal says he's 71 years of age, has had a good run, and could simply walk away. Option two was to simply do nothing and force the city council's hand and see if they would take any action against Deal himself for not carrying out the order. And option three, which is what the city manager finally opted to do, was to carry out the request by the council and terminate Lane's employment. And Deal did just that, sending Lane a letter of termination, which outlines exactly why Lane was being fired. And the grievance committee has that letter, and that letter and those reasons is really the only consideration that the grievance board has to determine. All the allegations laid out in the lawsuit simply has little bearing on Lane's termination, and Attorney Jim Elliott laid that out emphatically in his closing arguments to the grievance committee. Also a reason that Attorney Elliott didn't hardly ask any questions of the many police officers who came at the hearing to testify on behalf of Mike Lane, praising his performance as chief. Attorney Elliott simply states that Mike Lane admitted to violating the city's personnel policy in his oath of office as chief of police, and Mike Deal's letter of termination lays out the reasons for his termination. Elliott told the grievance board in his close that the letter of termination by city manager Mike Deal is all that matters in this decision. In his testimony on Monday, Mike Deal stated that he had never been told by a council to carry out a termination of an employee before, that this was a first. The question was asked by a grievance committee member why he simply didn't put Lane on temporary suspension with pay once the allegations came about, to which he answered he considered it, but he testified that he felt that would tarnish the reputation of the chief. And Deal said he knew as a former chief himself, once an officer's reputation is tarnished, it's hard to get that back, and Deal wanted to make certain that the accusations were true. Deal testified that there were several disturbing issues. Once the investigation got underway, he knew Lane had to be punished, but illegal termination was not the option. Besides the Liberty County Sheriff's Department's investigation, there's also a GBI investigation into the allegations against Mike Lane, and the grievance committee on Monday asked where that report is and wanted to see that GBI report. That report still remains on the desk of the district attorney, Keith Higgins, who still says it's under review, and the DA has not determined whether or not criminal charges will be filed against the former Jesup police chief. Under testimony Monday, Mike Deal stated, quote, "I'll not defend or offend the district attorney's office. The city the city should have that report by now, and it would be nice to know what's in the GBI report, end quote. Once again, the GBI has conducted their investigation into the allegations against Mike Lane. That GBI report's been completed weeks ago, but still no word from DA Higgins on what action, if any, he and his office will take regarding the GBI investigation. Monday's hearing brought about two very disturbing incidents that occurred at the police department under Lane's tenure as chief. The first is that two Jesup police officers, a female and male, female Patricia Brantley, male employee Todd Brown, while on duty were discovered by another police officer in the back seat of Brown's patrol car at the parking lot of Christian Rock Academy having sex, and while they had turned off their GPS radios to not be disturbed or know where they were on duty. Lane handed out written reprimands at the time, off without pay, and put out a non-fraternization policy in the department. Second incident is that the chief sent out an email himself for an office poll for officers to participate in to determine who the father was of the female officer's unborn child. Lane testified Monday that there really wasn't a poll, it was simply merely a joke, as the female officer talked about having relations with three men and didn't know who the father of the child really was. In his close, Attorney Elliott told the grievance committee what was surprising to him is that every officer who testified Monday said they were not surprised or caught off guard about this type of behavior or sexual conversations taking place at the department. Elliott says that was the type of culture that was taking place under the leadership of Mike Lane, and Elliott stated that that was a cause for concern. Once again, the grievance committee has reached a decision, and that decision is going to be revealed today at 1:30 this afternoon. WIFO-FM will be on hand, and we'll have the full report for you tomorrow morning on our local news. We'll be back with more news after this word from our sponsor of the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Severe weather in the news today as rain and storms are forecasted to sweep through the area between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. A few storms producing all forms of severe weather possible. Long County schools are closed today. Classes resume Friday in Long County. Schools are open in Wayne County. Touched base with School Superintendent Jay Brinson last night. He says schools in Wayne County in session, that they have protocols in place to adjust during the day if needed. So again, Wayne County schools are open today. Long County schools closed. And WIFO-FM will have updates on the weather throughout the day. Stay safe and be prepared for what they say will be some extremely bad weather coming through the area this afternoon and early evening. All expected to be out of the area around 7 p.m. this evening. Governor Brian Kemp in the state of Georgia doing more to allow Georgians to have access to the COVID vaccinations. On Wednesday, Georgia opened up 5 additional centers, one of those in Ware County at the mall in Waycross, Georgia. Other sites are in Bartow, Chatham, Muskogee, and Washington counties. One in Chatham County is at the Gulfstream Aerospace in Savannah. State already has 4 other sites open: the Hartsfield International Airport, the Albany, Georgia Forestry Commission in Southwest Georgia, the Habersham County Fairgrounds in Clarksville, and the Macon Farmers Market. All the centers require appointments from the website myvaccinegeorgia.com, and that's myvaccinegeorgia.com. And opening soon, they state in the state of Georgia, where the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, that'll be opened up and used as a COVID-19 site in Atlanta. Once again, the governor encouraging those eligible to get the vaccine to sign up for an appointment and get vaccinated. We'll come back with some final news notes after this word from our sponsor of the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Final notes and news: Rayonier Advanced Materials is presenting State of Education announcement of the Page Star Student Star Teacher of the Year. And it's going to be a quarterly membership luncheon for the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce on Tuesday, April 20th, and they're taking reservations now. Again, $25 early bird member rate now up until 12 noon Wednesday, April 14th, and then $35 non-members, members and walk-ins after Wednesday, April 14th. Make your reservation now. And it's going to take place Tuesday, April 20th at the Pine Forest Country Club from 11:30 to 1 p.m. Buffet line opens at 11:30. Program will begin at 12 noon. Guest speakers on the program: Sherry Bowen, Principal and Director of Solid Rock Christian Academy; Dr. Sean Kelly, Superintendent of Wayne County School System; and President Dr. Lonnie Roberts of Coastal Pines Technical College. Once again, the date, Tuesday, April 20th. They're taking reservations now. Again, the number to call at the chamber is 427-2028. Reminder that coming up a week from Friday on March 26th, we'll have in studio as our special guest on the world famous Rich and Bob Show, Wayne County's new school superintendent, Dr. Sean Kelly. And he takes over officially on April 1st. He's been in Wayne County all this month getting familiar with the system, lining up personnel for the coming school year. And Dr. Sean Kelly joins us on the world famous Rich and Bob Show a week from this Friday, March 26th. That's going to do it for the latest in local news. Sports comes your way in a few minutes. Bob Morgan, have a great day.